Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sons and Daughters of Liberty. Hope everyone enjoyed their weekend and everybody's staying warm. I know it's frigid out. Just getting off work and filling up the beast. It's a short weekend for me. They made us work Sunday, so we work into Christmas. But I'll have Christmas Eve off. I'll have Christmas Eve. I have to be off until after the first. Nice long week vacation. I do hope everyone's doing well. I know it's been a while. As we get out of 16, waves. Same old fear mongering going on. It's been going on since 2019. 2020. Seems to keep worse the economy. Those that are tuning into YouTube, I can't see chat. I'm actually streaming from Vines, the Jitsi app, which allows me to stream mobile. So I wouldn't, even if I could see chat, I wouldn't do it. I don't need no distractions. So I'm usually dead tired. That 2 hour commute, it's a killer about halfway in. Yeah, admit, this is the first Monday that I've actually, take that back. It's usually Monday night when I go in. Seems like for the last 3 or 4 weeks, every Monday night, had some crazy weather. Either snow, it's been snow actually. Our weather's been crazy though. Shit, last week, and I was ready to go fishing. Got up to almost 70. Felt like spring. Hey, Bree.
Good morning. I told you to call me.
I forgot. I'm half awake. I'm actually not used to going in on Sunday night anymore. Damn, Bree, did I lose you? Or did I lose audio? Oh, you must have jumped on your computer.
I for some reason I got kicked out and it won't remove the other one of me.
Oh, good.
What did I miss? I was
Nothing really. I haven't really gotten into anything other than the crazy weather.
Oh God.
70
Full
degrees
moon.
last Thursday. Come Friday, everything dropped back down.
Yeah, it was full moon here last night.
Yeah, it was last night too.
I was rocking out to my favorite XM station. They're playing the anthem of our youth, and I kind of sort of got lost in it, which should be the anthem of everybody today. The man who stood and screamed to the PMRC. Do you know what his message was? Do you remember what his message was?
I think that was
Back
before
in
my time.
No, that really wasn't before your time. It was before a lot of your listeners' time, but it's a song that transcends all generations, and its message transcends all generations. We're not gonna take it.
Oh, D. Snyder, Twisted Sister. Okay, that was my favorite.
Yeah, yeah. That is a song that has transcended all generations, all genres for whatever reason. And this is a song that we should be saying and have in our playlist to crank to the masses and be saying, because as we know, um, somebody is talking about delivering a speech, and I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I,
That idiot needs to keep his damn mouth shut.
I don't know where he thinks that it's, and I've seen his number saying that there's 50 million. Dare I say, I think his numbers are a little off. Um, you know,
And right, I
um,
mean, and right now, as it's being documented, the most case, all the cases are pretty much the ones that are vaccinated. So who's going to
all
get
of them,
vaccinated? You take that
all
fucking
of
vaccine and
them,
shove it in their fucking ass.
all of the cases that have been declared have been people who have had, were quote unquote fully vaxxed.
What the? Well, what was that senator's name? Uh,
Um,
Booker or Brooker? Booker?
no, Elizabeth Warren.
No. There was another one. I just seen it
Oh,
last
Cory
night.
Booker.
Yep. He he
Um,
he, he tested positive for it, and he was bragging. Well, thankfully I had both my shots and my booster.
and this is where the I was talking to somebody up at church last night because I had church last night. So if you would have done a late evening show last night, I would have said sorry. I have family obligations that only happen once a year that I just simply cannot make. But um,
Nope, I had
yeah,
to work.
it's one of those situations that um, you know, I've heard I'm to the point that when I hear people say that they're fully vaxxed, I tell them I'm sorry to hear that. So when
Well,
you test
I'm sorry.
positive,
I'm sorry to hear that, considering you're not fully vaxxed. When depending on how long it's been, you gotta re-get the shot again after so many months, 6 months.
9 months, 9 months is what they are currently saying, and then
So therefore, you're not fully vaxxed.
and here's the kicker: it takes 14 to 21 days for that to fully uh now I'm going to use their words, not mine. It takes 14 days for it to completely rev up your system and supercharge your immune system. Uh, that's their words, not mine. Um, but every single case. Now let's do a little history lesson here. Musical history. Omicron. Um, there is a band out there, and I believe the Belgium death metal band Omicron, who's been around for at least 5 years. I believe they have a legitimate trademark infringement upon their name.
No, not really, because they. Yeah, I mean, they can. So you can say that. Well, they infringe by taking even part of their name from the Greek alphabet. So I mean,
Here's the thing: they patented their band name and the symbol that is being used for Omicron. They took and they had that patented to use as their band logo. They actually got an international patent for it. So, by the CDC, the World Health Organization, and all of these other jabronis, um, every time they are spouting that word, they are culpable and liable for defamation, despite the fact that the band is a Belgian death metal band. Um, they have grounds for litigation against every country, every health agency who is spouting this um, garbage about this stuff. Every nation, at every nation's leader, everything. They have a legitimate, open and shut case for theft of intellectual property. Their name, Omicron. Omicron is not in the Greek alphabet. Omni is,
right.
not Omicron. And what they did was they took uh, the band's intellectual property, i.e., their name, their identity, and have affixed it to a, a virus, which is by de facto against the law. And so, what that means is somebody, as if I don't know which nation dubbed it this. They are ultimately number one on the culpability uh, list, and they could financially lose their ass for what, even if they, for every time they name the band, But if, as we always say, um, any PR is better than uh, no PR.
Well, yeah, see, I was going to say the same thing, but in this day and age, if I go to look up Omicron, the band, on a Google search, what's going to come up first?
You have to, I've noticed with Google, you have to be, I just on a whim, I typed in what the minister was going to be preaching on last night. I had to be specific. They have jacked the algorithm so severely that we have to word our searches in such a way that it's not going to that we're going to get what we want out of the search by tricking the AI.
Oh, I've got my computer so well trained and the algorithm so well trained that before I even type what I'm thinking in, it pops up. That's how good I've got mine going.
Now mine's been stupid lately. But then again, my system is archaic at best. Um, I don't have YouTube. I don't know as if we need to be in front of the YouTube, do we? In front of the
Oh,
chat?
I can't see a chat if there is one. So
Um, there's. I'll get towards the computer and at least um be sitting in there. But people need to um start being wise, and I think people are starting to see and starting to sort of be at a little bit more I won't use the term awakened, but the fact that since last Monday, over 500 people have been removed from military duty
yep.
permanently. Um, and oddly and strangely enough, they took pilots who were cross-trained between the F-18, F-35, and F-15 programs. Why would you take people from those programs and park them permanently?
Well, I mean, the answer to that one's simple. They're getting all the ones that will not comply, adhere to their illegal, unconstitutional orders when they are given.
Yep.
That's what it revolves down to. But I know a few who's taken one for the team and took the jab, so they can't. So when that day comes, at least we'll still have a few people in there.
There's, to my knowledge, at last count, the number that was released was 103 Marines.
Yep.
And I know that number to be much higher. I know that number to be.
We also got to remember, though, it's one of those drawbacks to being in the military.
Yep.
They're not civilians. They're not considered civilians, even because, I mean, we can go all the way back to 1776 during the Revolution, where they were forced to take the vaccine, where the public didn't have to.
Yep. And
so,
I
don't agree with it, but
there are times for certain things that I
But I
could
also
see,
look
but
at
this
it.
isn't
But I
one
look
of
at it.
them.
No, it's not one of them because we're not. Well, technically, yes, we are still in a state of war because they've never put an end to the war on terror.
Yeah, I got into a actual discussion with a group of old soldiers, and one of them was from uh, Pearl Harbor, and the other was on Omaha Beach.
Eek.
Old guys, old, and both are Purple Heart with cluster. I asked these gentlemen, I said, sirs, yeah, I was at a beer and card bar. That's about all they serve, except on specific military days where everybody gets a shot of Crown.
Cheap bastards.
What?
Shot of Crown. At least give them a shot of good scotch.
Everybody gets a shot of Crown on the house, and their shot of Crown is about 6 ounces.
Yeah, their shot of Crown felt like I pour mine,
Yeah,
except for mine's more than 6 ounces.
and November the 8th, VE Day, D Day. I mean, there's a couple of days that they go through an extreme amount of Crown, and I asked these old soldiers. I asked them point blank. I says, and this was right after the Pearl Harbor Memorial services locally. I went down, play cards, and listened to oral history because it's something that's lost in this country.
Yes.
And I asked them, I says, since pretty much everybody in this bar are veterans, I says, can anybody in this bar tell me what the U.S.'s peacetime flag is? And this old boy from that was involved in Pearl Harbor, and he stood up at attention, and he says, ma'am, he says, sad to say, but the United States doesn't have a peacetime flag. Because the United States doesn't know what peace is. They only know what war is. And I thought that was a pretty profound statement coming from the greatest generation on earth. Greatest generation to have ever lived.
Well, I mean, it's kind of the truth.
We don't have a peacetime flag.
We really can't go 10 years without a war.
True. How many other nations are like that? how
But
many other nations do we know that
the
have this
Middle East,
problem?
they've always been at war with each other. They've never known true peace. Honestly, about the only countries that really have is Africa.
That ain't exactly true either, because you have
Yeah,
Coney still running around, and you have um, several other individuals that have invaded the country of Africa. Um, the Somali.
oh yeah. I mean, you got, but that's all tribal.
These are people that were not from that continent that have invited or invaded into it, and then you have that uh Coney Liberation Army in the Congo as well. That boy is nothing to mess with, and he was a co-conspirator, I believe, with uh Al Qaeda. If you
I mean, if
remember
you look
back
at,
to 2012, he was
yeah, if you look at the United States, we've truthfully never been out of war. You look at the 80s and 90s, it was the war on drugs. 9/11 happened. It's the war on terrorism. Before before the war on drugs, it was the Great Cold War. But I hate to be a downer to all these people that keep throwing the CW word around. You guys get that out of your rabbit ass minds, because it ain't gonna be a civil war.
right.
It's gonna be a revolution.
That's what I was thinking. Was RV or RW?
Yeah, I mean, I get tired of hearing people say, "Oh, you know, this or this is gonna cause." It ain't gonna be a civil war. There's nothing gonna be civil about it.
I've asked myself and a couple other people who were in the same shithole and in the same general region, as well as many other people. What's so civil about war anyway?
Right. Because I mean, what people are they're talking about, they keep mixing the concepts up. Okay, granted, it'll be happening on our native soil, but it'll be us against us, basically. But it'll be about taking back our governments, overthrowing our government. Therefore, that makes it a revolutionary war, not a civil war. It's not states against states.
Right. There's too many people that have um misguided ambitions, I think.
That's why Biden, honestly, should choose his speech very carefully, because right now the American people have had more than enough.
I would agree with that sentiment. You know, I'm not one to sit and listen, but I think this is one that I'm going to actually pay attention to.
Because you already started removing our military personnel unconstitutionally.
And what a lot of people don't realize is virtually every single person that has been removed from the military, that I believe they either have or are in the process of either court martial or a dishonorable discharge, which would put them now under the Patriot Act, or the NDAA, would mark them as a prohibitive person.
They are considered. Even once you retire, because you have the military training according to the NDAA and the Patriot Act, all our military personnel, once they retire or leave the service, are considered a domestic terrorist. Verbatim is how it's written in the NDAA book and the Patriot Act.
There's a few exceptions to that, depending what your MOS is and what branch, because certain branches require a certain amount of, once you sign up, you know, like the Marine Corps.
There's no stopgap.
There are certain that, like aviators, there is a stopgap there, but then they just simply shuffle the deck and move you into other modalities. But there really is no. Once you put your name, you sign your name on that DD 214. There really is no stopgap. Once you put your name on that DD 214, and what everybody seems to forget when they enlist, they can call you back unless you have been so severely physically injured. They can come back as much as 15 years later. If you were in a intelligence or other area, they can pull you back if you have maintained, and you are required to maintain peak physical readiness and peak physical condition to the best of your ability. You are required.
Oh, did you catch that about that National Guard unit that they tried to disband?
Which one?
Threatened to ban them all and just degrade them to a militia.
Which state?
Oh, I can't remember. It was either Utah or Oregon. Can't do it.
Sounds like something that would happen out of Utah.
Well, they can't do it to any National Guard unit. Come to find out, because it takes 3 different branches, and the president ain't one of them.
Yep.
They fall under state, federal, and I can't remember another one. So they can't even force them out because they don't get a vax. Of course, you know, like I said, shit, that's more power to us. Go ahead, make them. Yeah, that's what they're supposed to be anyway. They're supposed to be the militia. They're not supposed to be a National Guard unit.
Yeah, and they're not really supposed to be going all over God's green earth, like they have been on quote unquote humanitarian assistance either. They go in about the same time as the Marines, and they're usually the last ones out.
Yep. And they're actually supposed to be kept at home.
Yep. Last line of defense.
Yeah, but yeah, part of me wants to listen to what the cocksucker has to say. The other part of me, I don't want to hear it.
I do, for the simple fact that with him threatening heavy sanctions against the unvaxxed, I did catch one tweet late yesterday that somebody from the quote unquote advisory will suffer a long deadly winter.
Yeah, I caught that part about the imminent stupid winter thing.
And that was just another idiom of dark winter.
Yep. Bioweaponization.
Yep.
I mean, basically, you might as well just come out and say it. You're committing biological warfare on your own people.
Yep. And how long is it going to be before somebody calls them out and tries to file charges in international?
Here's my other opinion. Keep running our military out. We'll take all of our alpha dogs back. You can keep all the fucking betas. They're worthless.
You know what? A lot of people, you know, they keep.
What they're doing, they're removing all the alphas, so they got their little controlled betas that they control. Will do their every little bidding without question, because they don't have a spine or a backbone.
You know, I've had a few people ask me, how do you avoid, because there's been a lot of muddle about the draft thing again. And I said, well, there's two ways to avoid the draft. Either be the only child left to run the family farm, get COVID, or get pregnant, and be unwed.
Hey, an eagle.
That could be a good sign for you for your travel.
Now, our eagle populations have been growing and growing past 10 years.
Ours has been growing exponentially, but unfortunately, every year we got, and for some reason, they haven't been able to catch the sorry sap-sucking piece of garbage. Every year we get somebody that is shooting, and on average, they'll shoot 15 to 25 eagles. And it's within the same 60-mile range. And they've been using the same 22, the same gun, because they've been able to retrieve the 22 shell. the actual bullet from at least 6 different birds. So I think this dude's time of dropping birds, and we believe it to be a father-son in that area, and this has been going on for 50 years. Their time is about done. You don't want to let a vet get a hold of them. Let a vet or Native American get a hold of them and see how well they fare.
Yeah, where's PETA when you need them? Oh wait, that's a that's boy. I seen the window sticker. It was a PETA sticker. People eat.
Oh, you cut out there for a second when you got near that rig.
I said I seen the best low window sticker ever on a semi. PETA. People eating tasty animals.
Yep. Yeah, I seen something when I was out cruising the backwoods not too awful long ago. That was rather disconcerting. And when you got right near that semi, your signal just dropped out to nothing. That they're using a semi instead of like cube vans now. They're actually using big trucks with all kinds of computer tech and stuff like that now.
Oh yeah.
Because they blend in on the interstates versus a cube truck. Just FYI, and so does DOT. DOT is actually using, in some states, they're actually using semis. Which I thought was strange, but a little off topic, but it just goes to show the amount of surveillance that we're actually under.
Oh yeah. I mean, people don't believe the type of surveillance. Let's just research the surveillance, what they've been using in Australia to pinpoint your location to make sure you're not violating their quarantines and lockdowns.
I've got several friends down in Australia, and these were people who I knew to have a backbone, and a couple of them had actually served in the specialized services of the military, and they were definitely alpha dogs.
Oh fuck yeah!
And I mean, those guys in the Australian Special Forces, they're certified fucking nuts. And some of these guys, I've watched them. In fact, one of them is off on that way out. It got taken to that relocation camp. If you get my meaning.
You mean that concentration camp?
Yep.
That's
And
what it is.
he his neighbor 2 doors down allegedly had potentially came in contact via I've never heard of this bug being transmuted by the phone, but allegedly had contact with somebody um via the telephone, and they came and scooped him up. Now this is a man who literally gave an arm and a leg for his country, literally. And they showed up on his door saying, come with us or we will call the Covey bus and you may not like that ride. This is somebody who served for 12 years with the Australian Army as the Australian equivalent as a SEAL.
Yeah, but
this is how you treat somebody like that.
These governments don't care. They think they've got all the power, and unfortunately, you're dealing with countries like Australia. Their people aren't armed. They're not allowed to have arms. So people should pay attention. Why our Second Amendment rights are so fucking important.
Well, this goes back to people need to remember their fucking history or they're doomed to repeat it. What was Australia originally set up and designed for?
A penal colony.
What is it? What is it now?
Still a penal colony.
Exactly. History repeats and recycles. And I caught the tweet that I think it's tomorrow. It's either today or tomorrow. The Netherlands goes into complete lockdown. The Netherlands.
Yeah, it happened last night.
I mean, that's bullshit.
I mean, that's what they want. People that are in power right now, all they want is people under lockdown, under their control. It's gotten to the point where they're gonna keep screwing around, and they're not gonna like the consequences of the actions that they're taking. So we already got people rising up.
London is getting extraordinarily violent.
So is Germany. So is Australia while we're bullshit. And I'm sorry, I wouldn't be fucking around with the Norse. That's in their blood. That's in their blood. I wouldn't. Don't awaken those old fucking roots.
This is what, if there's going to be a country that is not afraid to use melee weapons, it's Norway. They have no problems, and they are master forgers. I mean, have you ever looked at Damascus battle axe?
Yes, I have. I own
Have you?
one.
And what was the price tag on that?
Not cheap.
Yeah. And how much does it take to wield that? You
Not
have to
much.
damn near be a hill giant to wield uh, a full size battle axe. And usually, whatever it touches, it removes. Just saying. People need to be pensionant and you know, and this is, I guess, maybe why I'm, and this falls into that timeline that I had talked about with that thing with Russia with that 14 uh, to 21-day window. This definitely is falling right into that 14 to 21-day window. Um, they're going to do everything in their power, just like they did last year, to make it so that people cannot assemble for Christmas.
Oh yeah. Let's think about it. Here in a couple. Well, probably most places. I know our schools in our area are open until tomorrow, I think. But most of the schools will be shut down for the next 2 weeks. Oh yeah, they're not. They don't want people assembling. Look what New York pulled. I mean, the only thing that little fucking legislation that New York passed, the only people that's screwing is the local businesses, the bars, because
Yeah,
all the tours that normally come in won't be coming in.
yeah, that's a. I think New York is going to find out um, very rapidly in probably after this year that there will be a huge change up there, and that they will see that the way that they have been statistically voting is no longer for them, and that people will, I've given up hope on the ballot box at this point. Um, that this next session, I
We're not
there's
gonna get.
possibility.
We're not gonna get to the next session.
I, I I don't think so either. I'm woefully optimistic, but I'm also pessimistic about it.
I'm a realist. They went all in. It's scorched. It's the scorched earth policy. If we can't have it, we're burning. That's why inflation's skyrocketing. They want people. If we can't make you bow down, get the vaccines, we're going to do everything we can to get you submissive and subjective to us. Or we're just going to make you so dependent on us to where you're starving.
Yeah, they tried that policy a few other times and it didn't work.
People are talking about, well, it's going to be all red. It doesn't matter. We've got enough red in the office. Where's the impeachment for a president that's incapable of doing his job? He is not mentally sound to do his job. But you don't hear a single fucking Republican bringing that up. There should be, they're not. They don't care. They're getting what they want. Democrat, Republican, the like. But we got all these blind ass people following the blind ass leader, adhering to their stupid labels. And what do we keep getting? Country going further down the drain. So if we make it to the next cycle, you're going to vote in all these Republicans. What are you going to get? The same damn shit. Why? Because history has shown us we get the same damn shit every time. They're all the fucking same. They're in there making billions that don't add up to what they're getting paid for their pension or their so-called salary. But yet they're coming out of their millionaires. I'd like to see one of you guys try that. See if you don't find yourself in a federal prison.
Yeah, I'd like to. I after that last Supreme Court ruling about overturning the previous federal court, that was a killer.
I mean, my opinion's always been, I'm not pro-life or pro-choice. It's your fucking own personal choice. That's what you have your freedoms for. Make your own damn choices. Not have some federal government tell you what you can and can't do. Not have some state tell you what you can and cannot do. With your body, with your own choices. Yes, there's consequences to every damn choice we make. Even the good ones. But in the end, that's what freedom's about. Being able to make that choice. It's like I'm sick of all these hypocritical people out there. Platforms like Gap, Fashion, all these other places. Oh, we're not like that. I bet you if I go on there with KOTR, I will be suspended within the first 72 hours.
Yep.
So don't give me that bullshit that you're free speech platform, because you're not. You won't let a Satanist on your platform, but that Satanist has a right to his freedom of religion, whether you agree with it or not. So don't sit there and be hypocritical. Be truthful. We're a Christian platform. We don't want others. I can respect that. I would actually support that. I won't go there. This is because Rumble went public, so they're bashing Rumble. Who cares? You're just another media platform. You're a dime a dozen. You'll fade out just like MySpace did. Facebook's fading out. People are like, oh, no, we're not. No, it's not. It'll no longer be Facebook. It'll be the metaverse. And boy, you don't want me to get started on that one.
Yeah, I've been seeing whenever I update or I close the browser, Meta shows up on the bottom of my phone.
Actually, click on that link and go watch the videos. Go listen to what Zuckerberg's talking about. I mean, it's lengthy. I'm like only like 4 videos in. But that's not even here nor there, because that's not what it's even about. It's not even the right channel to discuss what it's about. We think we got a bunch of brainwashed zombies right now floating around. Wait till they plug in. VR is not your friend. If you ain't an occultist, an esoteric person that has knowledge in that field, do not put VR glasses on. That's all I got to say about that one. You think the psychological warfare is bad now? When you put those fucking VR glasses on, you're open your psychic wide open, right straight to the subconscious. What do you Facebook's dying? Because they're upgrading. And boy, you think Facebook's policed right now? Wait till the metaverse comes out.
Yeah, that ain't gonna be nothing pretty.
And I think a lot of people think VR is a new concept. VR's been around since the '80s.
Yep.
I remember back when Cedar Point had a VR gaming area. Didn't last that long though. That's all they're doing. They're doing whatever they think they can do to control you, control your minds, strip you of all your identity, out of all your freedom of choice, your freedoms. That's why I don't want to hear what the idiot president has to say. Why? Because he keeps making threats. He's threatening the very people that he's took an oath to protect, to serve. And I think it's funny. Everybody called Trump a dictator. Well, guess what? You got a dictator in office now for real. And the worst part, he's not even a sound mind. Somebody else is controlling his words and actions. That's what you really scared
that's
about.
what was funny is Russia really didn't they weren't too aggressive about reforming the Soviet Union as soon as Trump announced his candidacy, and then especially after he won, they put a freeze on it. But as soon as this cat got in, they started revving the engines on that machine all over again.
Of course. I mean, any country would. I mean, every country that uses our country right now is weak. We got a feeble-minded person in office that can't even read a teleprompter right. Like I said, where's all these so-called Republicans demanding his mental health be checked? Because he is unfit to be a president. He does not have the mental capacity. And the same can be said for Nancy Pelosi. She's mentally incapable of holding that position. That position she holds is very important because if something would ever happen to the vice president and the president, guess what? Speaker of the House is next up.
Yep.
It's like that multi-trillion-dollar spending bill that they want to pass. How's that helping our economy? It's not. In fact, it's just going to skyrocket the inflation more. So that's common sense. That's actually first, second grade arithmetic. Well, maybe not the common core day and age, but hey. Although that little spending bill kind of hit a rope bump, which I was kind of shocked. Manchin says he won't vote for it.
Yeah, there's a few things that I've noticed has hit a roadblock.
I mean, we finally had a court actually go the other way with the vaccine mandate thing, which was a kind of a loss for us, but it's still, we still got other courts that have upheld it. Said, no, you can't do it. You know, it's just like the Senate wanted to try to pass a bill blocking his mandates. What are you trying to block? There is no mandate, no executive order. It's just somebody running his mouth, pushing fear. There's nothing to block. You know, I'm sick of our Congress just throwing stuff out there, expecting everybody to, oh, okay, they're doing something fine. Use your common sense. The only mandate that's going on is fear. There's no executive order. There's no law. But if the Senate would do something stupid like that and send it down to the House then could flip that and make it a law. Like I said, people's got their hopes up 2022. I feel for you. The only hopes you should be doing, hoping and praying that you got enough stuff stockpiled, enough food and provisions. Plenty of bug out routes planned.
And make sure everybody that is there is on the same page. Because that is critical.
Because I'm flat out there, nothing's going to get any better. And more likely, whatever he has to say in this little speech is going to infuriate so many people.
Yeah, you could say that.
So, I mean, you can only throw your little beer games and threats around for so long. Eventually, somebody's going to call your bluff. But the worst part is they ain't bluffing.
No.
That's the reason why they're pushing all these people our military out. Because they know if these people, we can't make these guys get vaccinated, they won't do what we tell them because they actually believe in the oath that they took, and they will defend this country against foreign and domestic. And that domestic means our government. That's the other big reason why they don't want to release none of that footage for January 6th.
No, you're only seeing certain ends of it.
Exactly. Because if they release all of it, the real stuff, we find out the truth, then there goes their lie. But, like I said, careful what you wish for. Could never be an insurrection when the Capitol building is our building. It's not theirs, it's ours. We have the right to go in it as when we want.
My cat's trying to. Yeah, that's Pen. She's one of my mousers. She's trying to tell you need an RCD. And because she's a jelly bean, I think she's trying to say, bet on black. See? Yeah. I don't hide my kitties. Pan, you said enough, thank you. Enough comments from the peanut gallery. But on a serious tip, I want your honest feedback about that shit show that popped up out of TikTok. What's your I think I already know, but because you and I, there's only just a few years, there's not much. What would have happened back in our generation if something like that would have happened back then? What would have our parents done?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Did you see that that those threats that were flying around social media Thursday going into, I think they started actually late Wednesday going into Thursday, about trying to get as many people as they could to disrupt schools and soft targets, threatening to do stupid things.
I didn't really. I heard something, but I didn't know what it was about. I don't really follow TikTok.
I don't either, and
it's like a useless platform for me.
It really is. But the sad thing is that for the seventh straight month they have surpassed in uploads and watch hours YouTube. 7 months in a row, they have surpassed YouTube with the number of people coming to the platform, uploading content, and watch hours. They have surpassed YouTube hands down, even when YouTube was in its heyday of where creators could actually make a little bit of scratch. They have surpassed what YouTube was capable of doing compared to now. But what people don't seem to understand, and there, it should be, for the record, what people don't understand is majority of TikTok servers are not in the US. They are China owned and China controlled.
I mean, people I do know that's there. That was the first thing they told me: you wouldn't survive a day.
Oh, I know for a heartbeat. A friend of mine who is also like-minded had moved from here. He had, I think, just a shade under 10,000, maybe just over. He went over to Tick, and within 3 months, he was up over 200,000. And just before he was to the point that he would get a plaque, they silenced his ass permanently. IP banned the works.
Whew, I thought that was me he was after.
And another friend of mine who doesn't show firearms and things of any kind, he had 2 videos in one day get taken down of him and his 18-year-old son going through, are you familiar with the Mantis system?
Yeah.
He was teaching his son the Mantis system because of apocalypse is real. He was teaching his son the Mantis system, and they struck that video. And I'm like, they're not shooting live ammunition. Everything is in a safe position. This person is a fire chief and a part-time police officer. Part-time police officer and a fire chief. So I don't see an issue here. And yeah.
Well, I mean, best of luck for YouTube to get a little bit more stricter too. They just re-updated the terms of services.
I haven't seen what the TOS is for this year, or this coming year, but I don't see my presence very long. I got word of a channel that's just a little smaller than me, about 160, 170 followers got nuked over the weekend. Um, and again, using the Mantis system. Um, with the only difference is that while he was doing the actual doing the step by step instructions on how to set up the Mantis system the proper way, instead of the hot step with it, uh, and shortcutting that rather tedious system of trying to shortcut it and jumping right into it, actually going through and calibrating absolutely every nuance of the system. Um, because he's got infant and toddler kids. While he was shooting the video, YouTube was watching it and called the police. Called the police while he was doing the live, because he was using a third party system. Called the police. He didn't lose his kids, thankfully, but my understanding is that the YouTube decided to nuke his channel because he was making a tutorial. How messed up is that?
It's YouTube. It's pretty much about any platform you go to now.
I don't think a lot of people realize that there's not a lot of places that you're not going to have to obey to one form of TOS or another. You're going to be a slave to somebody and have to accept somebody's terms, no matter what, as you found out. And it's sad that people don't. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. In a lot of aspects, I see a lot of channels like ours going back to the days of terrestrial waves and terrestrial radio type things back versus video. And
right now,
by that,
like I said, right now we still got a semi-safe haven on mines, but you still can't live stream. You can't upload. Nothing not well. As a Mine Plus user, you can't upload anything over an hour and 15 minutes. It's based on the size of your file. It's even less as a regular subscriber. So I mean, it's not even that's not the perfect platform. I utilize, like I said, I utilize Internet Archive. I'll go upload all my stuff to Internet Archive. Then if I ever get nuked, there's all my links and stuff. I can put everything back. But either way, you're on somebody's terms of service. which is something to change without notice.
Yeah, I can't even get into for whatever reason, over the last 60 days, I can't even get into my archive account.
I mean,
And I,
WordPress, we've seen them, the new people. I mean, there's no safe spot to go.
it goes back to the IoT. You know, it was rather strange when I went and got this new phone because it's uh, a dual banded phone, and when I signed the new contract, they're like, "Why would you want a new phone capable of so much, and yet you want to stay in 4G LTE?" I'm like, because I know 5G was designed for and what it's being used for now um, isn't what I believe in. Um, and I don't need to have my brain nuked any farther than what it's already been. And they're like, well, you know that LTE is going to go out somewhere in 22, early 23, right? I'm like, well, when that happens, I guess I'll go back to me and old CB. And they're like, well, if your contract isn't hasn't expired, I'm like, well, that's going to be on you because I will not be forced, and you cannot strong arm me into something that there is documented proof that 5G is harmful to the body. I says, there is scores of documents that state that 5G is harmful. And I says, it's also worth noting, since we are in a quote unquote pandemic, or endemic, whichever you prefer, that there is a correlation between those areas that have high volumes of 5G and the higher numbers of the Rona. And they just kind of look at me like I have been smoking something other than a cigarette. They couldn't put it together. But if you look at the map, the numbers don't lie.
Well, I mean, he used the pandemic to just throw up all the towers. They used it. The guys, oh, we need to be able, so kids can get their homeschooling and their virtual classes. So we need to upgrade the old system to 5G. I watched as that happened.
Yep. Yeah, they're still trying to put a booster up out in front of my house. They've been trying that for 18 months. It hasn't happened yet. Not sure why. And none of the neighbors want it either. None of them. They all actually went to the city council and filed a complaint about it.
Well, what happened to a lot of states that government stuff that was against it, well, they slipped it in under the emergency. Because we're in a state of emergency. So therefore, FEMA rules. Which allowed them to just go rampant and put all these 5G towers everywhere. There was a lot of crap they pulled while we were locked down. We couldn't see. They're still pulling the crap.
Yeah, it's insane.
But it's something we noticed this year. One of the last couple of years, we've seen a lot of change. Change in the right direction. The lockdown's kind of backfired in many ways. They got people doing things that they haven't done before, planting gardens, doing do-it-yourself projects. But it gave them time to think. Granted, they learned their lesson on that. But it was a little too late. This year, we started seeing people start taking stands, standing up, start paying attention to what's actually being taught in school systems, what their school boards are doing.
Yeah, our school board's getting ready to that's a rabbit hole I really don't want to go down.
But, I'm just pointing out, we're starting to see people where they're starting to draw the line. Enough's enough. They're starting to be more vocal, taking more stances. And we're going to see that. But we all know what happens when that starts. Well, as we've seen it, they tried to label people that went against the school boards as domestic terrorists. Tell parents you're domestic terrorists. Fear, once more, throwing that fear around.
Yeah. It's there's just I seen a very interesting on some of these tweets, it isn't the tweet itself, but the comments between tweets and Facebook posts. Some of the commentary and comments are amazing, to say the least. And one of the comments that I saw was right on track. That one commenter, who wasn't verified but was a media personality, I think, that worked with the Blaze. I'm not for sure. He recommended that everybody avoid watching any news unless it's like from a subscriber base type situation where it's not left, it's not right, but more of a centrist point of view. And a lot of the comments that came back were, I'm not going to pay a subscriber fee for news. And I'm like, well, by definition, you're paying extortionary cable fees. You are, in fact, actually paying subscriber fees um, to watch the propaganda machine, um, you're actually paying a subscriber fee. Otherwise, you could theoretically throw up a uh, some form of an antenna outside on top of your house, and you should be able to get the exact same channels that you're getting now without having to pay a subscription fee for them. And there were a few people that came back at me and they're like, well, yeah, actually, you're right. Yeah, you're going awfully slow there.
Damn right I am.
Oh, accident.
I'm smart enough to let the fire truck by.
Oh, I didn't see the fire truck coming up on you.
Yeah, I seen him coming off the ramp. I already knew. That's why I got over. Yeah, accident. Wow. People drive like idiots around here.
Ooh, damn.
Yeah, it actually happened over in this lane. Each.
And you're in what state?
Indiana?
I didn't see you cross over.
I crossed over a long time ago.
But people, I think people are, I think they, by them putting out that advance notice so far ahead, you know, I think they kind of shot themselves. They shot their mouth off a little too far ahead of themselves. Usually they used to put that notice out like on Saturday or Sunday that there would be a presidential address of some sort on, and usually aren't those done on Monday nights? Oh wait,
No, traditionally Tuesday or Wednesday. Well, it might be tonight. I don't know. I'll be at work, so it don't matter.
they won't. They don't want. I look to see that happen in the middle of the day, because of there being a NFL game on Tuesday night, and they don't want to mess with those ratings because we all know that.
Who watches the NFL anymore anyway?
Yeah, their mandates that are and new guidelines that are coming down at the end of this week, at the end of week 15. I wonder, they were mentioning that one quarterback was going to be forced to opt out for the rest of the season. I wonder who that could be.
Probably Aaron Rodgers.
Yep, because he's the only unvaxxed NFL player in the league.
No, he's not the old one.
He's got the antibodies, so he should be allowed to play. He should be allowed to practice. But nope, he's not allowed to practice. And when he's not on the field playing on game day, he's quarantined.
Here's what kills me. I'm pretty sure you caught the terminology that's been going around. 5-6 years ago, we just talked about people being awake. Now we got the terminology going around: wake versus woke, left.
Yep.
See, they're trying to even destroy the terminology of wake or woke to fit their psychological warfare. And the part that kills me is seeing all these other people start using the terminology, not even thinking about it. People I've got a lot of respect for, but I hear them using it, and they're not thinking about why they're using that terminology, the woke left. Okay, so you're degrading those that are we always call them awake. You're basically insulting. They're trying to use it as an insult, but it's not, because wake, woke, they mean the same damn thing.
What I get it. What I laugh at. I had to go to Walmart on Friday to get a couple things, and or Thursday rather, and this great big alpha looking type dude had the full beard go rocking and all this shit, sleeve tattoos on both arms, and most of the tattoos were of military origin, and he had the DTOM shirt on and wearing a mask. I mean, how oxymoronic is that? Wearing a shirt that says, "Don't tread on me," and you're wearing a fucking mask. How stupid and redundant is that? Unless you're positive, or you've just gotten over it, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I mean, I'd still see a bunch of people wearing this.
Yeah, it's pretty prolific out here. Speech. How quickly will our houses of worship buckle like the last time? How fast will we see that?
I tell you what, they pull that stunt again. They do it. I'm going to show you some fucking Southern Baptist fucking fire and brimstone.
No, I'll be getting up on I'll go deep diving, and I'll be grabbing scriptures left, right, and center, calling out every single diocese on the hypocrisy of what they're doing, and I'll be using their word against them. And they're probably not going to like it.
Because I am, after all, a preacher's son.
They don't want to go there with me. And it's going to be interesting. That's why we know that Iowa is probably not going to capitulate to that because Iowa, majority of Iowa, um, and Iowans in general, have been diagnosed with with AFFA.
Well, see, the other thing they're trying to slide in there is fucking. They want documentation across the state lines, proof of vaccine across state lines.
Well, they could try that. I don't think it'll work, but they could try it.
Ohio said kind of turned it down. I've heard talks here in Indiana. They're talking, been throwing it around, and it's like, man, don't go there. I will take my fucking happy ass right back to Ohio.
They, a lot of these states that are thinking about it, they don't realize the ramifications of it because 70% of U.S. goods are hauled by small trucking companies.
Yep. Well, I mean, you guys been paying attention. How many fucking trucks and semis have I passed on my way to home on the interstate?
Right.
And
majority of them are not large corporate entities. They're small OTRs, owner operators, working for the American dream that it's not the as it has been proven, it's no longer an attainable dream at all. I'm living fucking proof of it. I mean, yeah, I have a home. It's not paid for, but I have a home. But if you really think about it, you pay property taxes on it. So are you just leasing the land from the government, or whether that be county, city, state, or what? This is.
Well, I mean, those that actually know the dirty little secret about that, technically, you don't own it because you get behind on taxes. I can come around, go to the IRS, pay that pay that outstanding bill, and I own that property and everything on
it. There's been several.
No, you don't own that.
There's actually been several large, well, not large YouTube channels, but several channels with huge volumes of hits that of people that go around scouting tax records on multi-million-dollar houses. Yep. and paying an eighth of what the house is actually worth, and waiting for the homeowner to leave, and then moving their stuff out, and that like personal effects like photos and documents and things of that nature, moving it out and putting it in a small container or something of that nature and taking legal possession of the house. Um, and that's a practice done out in California all the fucking time. California is one of the few states that that practice is actually legal. Thankfully, in the Midwest, that practice is not legal.
No,
When
but you can,
properties,
but you can, but you can go if they're behind on the property tax. You can go in out and pay off the property tax and get it that way.
you can
Ah,
that how Wisconsin does it once the property tax goes into default is it goes up for sheriff's auction or the city uh, and uh, municipalities will take
see,
ownership of it.
see, Bree, that there's a loophole there. He doesn't even have to go into default.
It,
So
it
technically, nobody owns their property. You own it as long
right.
as you keep paying the government. As soon as you get behind on your taxes, somebody can come around, take it right up from underneath you, and everything you've worked so hard for is gone.
Yep. There's so many little loopholes that a lot of people don't know. But people need to pay attention to it. Um, and this is, I think a lot of these people that have jumped into the housing market all in over the last um, 3 to 6 months are the forecast is that the housing market is going to crash in about 3 months.
Let's talk about it. It's already crashed. It has never recovered.
It's right now it's a buyer's market.
No, actually, it's not. What they're doing is they're buying up these older houses, stripping them all the way down, and recycling everything they can, making money off that way, and not putting nothing back up on the land. They ain't buying to fix things up. There's more money into buying it and just demolishing
The land that there's only so much land to be had, and once that land is all bought up, that's all she wrote.
But I'm almost at my exit, so I'm going to end this stream.
Alrighty, you have a great one. I will catch up with you later in the day when you wake up.
In this evening?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, after 5 o'clock, when I'm getting ready to go back to work, waking up.
Yeah, something like that.
But
Mr.
hope you guys
A says howdy howdy.
hey, Mr. A, nice to see you. But I hope you guys enjoy. You guys be safe. Enjoy your Christmas holiday. Enjoy your New Year's. Be safe. I don't, not sure if I'm gonna be able to get another podcast in between now and then. So I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's. Be safe, and I'll see you when I see you.
Alrighty. Are we clear?
Not yet.